It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood.
Hello, neighbor. I had to do it. Come on. Anyway, hey, I want to talk to you this morning about a couple of things that I saw yesterday that will impact, I believe, our marketplace going forward, and how to kind of harness the things that are going on that might be negative and use it to your advantage. Yesterday, some analysts on Wall Street were looking at the mortgage portfolio that's still out there, and in reference to the pay option arms. And you may be familiar with these types of loans, but they were the loans that the borrower could pick a payment, basically pay a minimum payment, and it was deferring interest or adding principal balance to the loan every month when they made this less than interest only payment. Well, there are still billions of dollars of those loans out in mortgage world that are set to recast here in 2010. And what that means is that those loans had a provision in them that would allow for that payment to increase once you reached anywhere from 115% up to 125% of the original principal balance of the loan. And most of those loans were done at 90 and 95% loan to value at the time when values were very inflated. So you have a situation now where you've got properties that are going to be terribly upside down, and these payments are recasting. And what that means is there's borrowers still in those homes making those minimum payments because that's all they can afford to do. But when that recast happens, their payments will go up on average 63%, which means billions more dollars in mortgages are going to be foreclosed on more than likely if they can't get modified with this HARP program, the program that President Obama has been pushing to get trial modifications off the ground. And if you modify on a trial basis for 3 months, then you make those payments and you go into a fully modified loan situation. So hopefully that can help those homeowners. But what I am saying about using this to your advantage as a seller, potential seller, and as a listing agent, and even as a buyer's agent, a lot of people let those homes go and those loans go at the beginning of 2007 when the market started to fall, and they looked at their next door neighbor and said, my goodness, the guy just moved in next door and he bought this house for $125,000 less than what I owe on this place. And so they left it in 2007. Now, we all know that once you're a homeowner, you really don't want to not be a homeowner again. So all these people who lost their homes in 2007, all the people who were foreclosed on, who walked away, who did deed in lieu of, foreclosure, all these things that have happened, starting in 2007 when this market got difficult, they're going to be back out in the market again buying houses. FHA loans allow you to come back in a short amount of time after you've had a foreclosure or a bankruptcy or a deed in lieu of or any kind of foreclosure action. So you can be back, you're going to have buyers flooding this market here in the next couple of months in 2010 because, they walked away from homes they were foreclosed on early on in this process. So my thought here is that even though bad things were happening in 2007, and when this whole thing started, you're going to see some buyers returning to the playing field here because you've got houses that are almost half the cost in some cases of what they financed, and they can, get a home with a 5% interest rate and be off to the races again. And, the anomaly of losing their house was a blip on the screen. So look at this in a positive way. I mean, even though there is some negative news coming out, and a lot of analysts believe that we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg with this foreclosure stuff yet. So, and I would tend to have to agree with that because, there were loans written between 2004 and 2007, a bunch of adjustables with interest only, a bunch of pay option arms, a whole lot of investor properties, a whole lot of these, just kind of toxic type loans that were written in that period of time that haven't adjusted yet. They haven't recast. They haven't lost their interest only feature. A lot of those people have refinanced or they have modified because rates were so low. But the chance of that happening were really pretty low because there wasn't a lot of equity in those properties when rates got to the point where it made sense for these people with interest only loans to refinance. So, there appears to be some tough times still ahead. But harness those things and make a point of there is good news in the midst of the bad news. Now, here's another piece of good news. Next Tuesday, retail sales information is going to be coming out, and it is going to more than likely be bad. That means that retail sales are going to be down, and the reason for that is that on Tuesday, consumer credit numbers came out, and it basically, those numbers crashed. The analyst expected that consumer credit was going to be down something like $4 billion. Well, it actually went down like $21 billion. And Wall Street really didn't grab the impact of that the last couple of days, so you haven't seen that reflected in the market. But when retail spending comes out on Tuesday, consumer credit and retail spending are very closely related, because consumer credit is used for retail spending most of the time. So if that number tanked, that means retail sales will be down. That means that the mortgage rates are going to be affected by this negative information from retail sales. So I would expect, and again, this is just an estimate, but I would expect, again, a 1/4 to 3/8% reduction in interest rates, which means that most rates are hovering right around 4.875, 5%, 4.75, depending on the borrower, the loan program, that sort of thing. So a 1/4 to 3/8 is going to put you somewhere near 4.5 to 4 3/4. So that's a great incentive for a lot of people who are on the fence right now as far as buying is concerned. That first-time home buyer credit, rates are great. It's a perfect storm. So make sure that you're talking to your people that are on the fence, that rates are good, the tax credit's going away. It's just a good time to get into buying a house. So thank you again for watching and clicking. I had a lot of questions yesterday about how people could get involved with supporting that new FICO 08 score. And unfortunately, there just isn't anything we can do about it. It's news, and it's something to stay on top of, but we as an industry can't influence how quickly that comes to the marketplace. So nothing you can do other than sit and wait and cross your fingers. So in answer to all those questions that I got yesterday, I didn't have a chance to get back to. Nothing we can do, just sit and wait. But there is something you can do with that HR 2801. Make sure you email the legislators that I have posted the links to their email addresses down there in the bottom. Just let them know you're in support of that, extending that first-time homebuyer credit. Also, that HBCC petition, you've got to get involved in that. We're getting so close with the number of signatures that we've got before we can go ahead and present that to the powers that be to get that legislation put in place to put that 18-month moratorium on that heinous bill that was passed. So check those things out. Check out the resources I have got below, the links and docs with the tax credit form, the amendatory clause, the list of the HUD required repairs. Prepare your listing and prepare your buyer because FHA is the loan of the future at this point. But I will say that USDA loans are making a huge comeback. And be sure to ask me questions about those loans, because I spent some time yesterday with the regional manager from USDA, and we got acclimated and got me up to speed on what's happening with USDA, and it's incredible. So if there is any way that you can get in touch with me to ask me questions about that, I'd love to share that information. I may be doing that tomorrow on this video. It just depends on the response that I get. So again, make sure, call, email, anything. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Again, check out those referral sources. Click around on the rest of the page and see that there's a tremendous amount of resources there for you to get involved with and get some knowledge and get some information in that tool belt. Again, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.